Hi there and welcome. My name is Jake Adams and I'm here today to talk to you about hiring your kids as a tax strategy. Now this is an introductory video, so we're going to kind of cover the overview of it, probably spend about 5 or 10 minutes, and then I'll do a different video for each one of these in a little bit more depth and detail. So first of all, why do we want to hire our kids? And what is the tax strategy behind this? Well, why we want to hire the kids is because the children are going to be at a lower tax bracket than the taxpayer, right? Let me give you a great example. If you're earning, let's say $100,000, $150,000, you're probably going to be at a 22 or 24% tax bracket. Depending if you're single or married, I'm not going to go to the tax brackets. But let's just say you're at a 22% tax bracket and you're 15% self-employment tax. So 22 and 15 is 37. So if we can hire the kids and we can shift income from the taxpayer to the children, then we can essentially save that 37% or 37 cents on the dollar. What does that look like? Well, if we shift $10,000 from the taxpayer to the children, or to one child or multiple child, whatever you want to do. So $10,000 times 37 is $3,700, right? $3,700 just for doing a little bit of paperwork and implementing the strategy. That's pretty good, right? I don't know about you, but $3,700, it can go a long way towards a vacation, a couple really nice dinners, maybe a down payment for a car. Money's different to everybody. So $3,700 to working families making $37,000 a year. That's 10%. That's a lot of money. So why do we want to do it? Well, we want to do it because it's essentially shifting income from the taxpayer to the children, right? How are we going to do this? So the implementation of it is, first we want to get it set up and started, and then there's going to be monthly things that we need to do. So to get set up, we need your employment agreement. You're going to want a W-4. You're going to want an I-9. All those typical employee-employee relationship, employer-to-employee relationship documents. And then you want to kind of figure out, what is the child going to do in the business? Great example, my son Nathan, he's 7 years old. And right now for the business, he shreds documents for me. He scans documents, doing some filing and sorting and things like that. Also janitorial services. He cleans up. So, once a week he'll come in and, wipe down the tables and the desks, maybe clean up some loose paperwork here and there. So the janitorial is really good. So what you need to do is put yourself in the employer's shoes. As an employer, what would I pay someone to come into the business to do this, right? And would I hire someone to come in and do something like this? And the answer is yes, right? As your business grows, you're going to have different things that you're going to need to do inside the business. So yeah, filing and sorting and scanning and shredding and cleaning up janitorial stuff here and there. That's really important for a business to grow, right? So what can you pay that person to do that kind of thing? Well, 10, 12, 15 bucks an hour, something like that. You don't want to get too aggressive. Just stay on the conservative side with a reasonable compensation. If you're not sure, we can have a couple links to a couple websites here for some references as far as the dollar amounts that you're comfortable paying someone an hourly rate to do something like that. So that's the setup on it. Just kind of, they also need to set up their own bank account because you need to be paying them as an employee. So if you're with a big bank, Chase, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, something like that, you just go in there and say, hey, I want a checking account for my child. They might say, we don't do checking accounts for child. You may need a savings account. The savings accounts are called an UTMA account. That's the Uniform Transfer of Minors Act, UTMA. UTMA is this is kind of a name, the bank name for a savings account. Now the downside to a savings account is you will want it tied to your personal bank login so that you can transfer funds between the two. Not to say that you want to pay them with the transferred funds, but to get that money out and to use it, especially for reimbursements, for parental reimbursements, which we'll talk about as well. You're going to want to have those easily accessible, right? And typically with a savings account, the money's not easily accessible because it's kind of stuck inside the savings account, right? So that's kind of the setup of it. And then what you're going to want to do every month is have the child fill out a timesheet, right? What are they doing? What kind of things are they doing? The tasks that they're doing, how many hours they worked, and then you're going to want to write them a check. Again, at least every month, write them a check and then deposit that into either their savings account or their checking account. So on a monthly basis, you're going to want to do the employee detail as far as their timesheet. What are they working on? And then write them a check. Don't do a transfer. Write them a check and then deposit it to either their personal savings or their personal checking. Now, once the money is in there, you can do a couple different things with it. In the advanced strategies, we're going to talk about a Roth IRA, which is going to give them tax-free earnings up until they're ready to take that money out. Or, like I said, if you want to have the login, so if you have a login for, let's say, Chase Bank, you have your personal login, make sure that your kid's savings account is tied to that so that you can transfer money back out when you're reimbursing yourself for your kids' expenses. And that's really what's happening is that kids are earning money and the kids are going to be spending their own money. Paid cash flow. So we kind of talked about that is every month you're going to want to keep a timesheet, have the kids submit a timesheet, and then pay them with a check, deposit it to their checking or their savings, and then you can pull that money out. Or the advanced strategy is you can put that money to a Roth IRA up to $5,500 because they have earned income. They're earning money inside the business, so they have earned income. And I'm going to have a couple links to some of the numbers as far as how Roths can compound. But kind of rule of thumb is if you put money into a Roth account, even let's say $5,000 a year for 10 years while your kids are between the ages of 7 and 17, which is really where this is the sweet spot. So you put $5,000 a year for 10 years, it's $50,000 completely tax-free when you're putting it in. And then that money grows in a Roth account, tax-free. They'll have over $1 million tax-free when they go to retirement, ages 65. So I don't know about you, but that's amazing as far as when you can think about investing $50,000 and, what is that, 50 years down the road, it's going to be worth $1 million if invested correctly. And then that $1 million is completely tax-free. Now, it's not like winning the lottery where it's like, oh, I won $1 million, you only get to keep, what is it, $600,000 of it, and then they even do a present value if you wanted a lump sum all at once, right? So yes, it's not like winning $1 million of the lottery where you got to pay taxes on it. With a Roth, it's completely tax-free. So I hope this was helpful for you, kind of as an overview. We're going to go into more depth and detail in each one of these in separate videos. So thanks so much for joining me, and I'll look forward to seeing you on the next video.